I just bought this Range Rover from Copart as a non-runner.
I've probably just made the worst but the smartest decision of my life, because today I bought a 2021 Range Rover Westminster Black Edition and it doesn't run. No test drive, no guarantees, just an auction listing and a gamble.
The price I have in mind is quite far from where it is now.
Now this isn't just any Range Rover, this is the Westminster Black Edition. Top spec, luxury interior, but this one, completely dead. And that's why it was cheap. Copart cars are always a risk. You are buying blind. You don't know if it's something simple,
Bloody hell, man. I hope this isn't some crazy electrical issue car.
or if you just bought yourself a financial nightmare. Could be a battery issue, could be electrical, could be a seized engine. And trust me, Range Rovers don't forgive mistakes. When this arrived, reality hit. No start, no crank, dash lit up like a Christmas tree. This is the moment where most people panic, but this is exactly why I buy cars like this. Because if I can diagnose it, fix it properly, and bring it back to life, the margin on a car like this is massive. This is how real money is made in the motor trade. Not buying clean cars, but solving problems other people are scared of. So, what's actually wrong with it? Let's find out.
Right, there's 2 minutes left for the auction. It's coming up now. Let me just show you guys the car. 2021 Range Rover Sport D300 Westminster Edition Black. Comes with a key, non-runner. Wonder what's wrong with it. To me, it's going to be an engine. Range Rover, after all, not very reliable. Look at this. The dash is stripped out. So is it a stolen recovered car? I don't know. Gonna have to find out. It might actually have electrical issues rather than engine. We're gonna know when we get the car here and if we win the car. Look at this. The trims are missing. Yeah, the lot's up next. Let's see what happens. I have got a budget in mind, and it's only going to be worth so much after that. Bearing in mind, an engine can cost 8k for the worst case scenario. So this retails at £36,000. And that's retail, by the way. Let's go. It's now. Straight away someone outbidded me. This is going to go for a lot of money. I'm guessing it's going to go for about 20k, 22. It looks like it's just me and one more bidder. No one else is bidding on this car right now. Because the moment a new bidder comes in, he announces new bidder. And right now, it seems to be just me and him. I hate Copart, man. It goes all the way around. It goes all the way around. And then it goes for a bonus round and then another bonus round. Let's try to filter him out. How many more clicks do you guys think it's going to take to win this car? The price I have in mind is quite far from where it is now, so I would pay maybe a bit more than this. Long day at work, guys. Long day at work. Hold on, he's not bidding. Bonus time. We've got 2 more bonus rounds to go. Can I win this car for £18,800? I'd be gassed if I do. 1 more bonus time. Don't bid. Have I got it? Have I got it? Have I got it?
Sold on approval.
Sold. It's sold to me, but on approval. That means the reserve's not met. I now need to wait for Copart and the seller to come back to me to confirm how much they want to let the car go for. At 18.8, let's see how much it come up to with the fees added on top. So maximum bid 18,800. That works out to be £20,200. Let's see what the reserve is. The guy is mad. The reserve is £30,000 and the retail is £36,000. This is most likely going to get released for auction. Time waste if you ask me, but it is what it is.
So, it turned out the seller wasn't happy with the bid price and the reserve was far from met, and the car went back up on auction, and this time it fetched at 25k, where I finally won the car. A quick look on Auto Trader shows that these retail for around £35,000 with the same spec and mileage, which gives me an easy profit margin of £10,000.
This is a lot number from Copart. The C over here means it's a private entry. So either this car was bought previously from Copart and sent back to Copart, or it's someone's car, it failed on them, and then they send it to Copart. Non-runner means the engine won't start. Now, That could be a number of reasons. That could be the engine, that could be a immobilizer, it could be issues with the key, the ECU, electrical issues, you name it. There could be so many ways this could be a non-runner. And on Copart's additional information section, there wasn't anything there to tell us what could be wrong with it, which means we start from step one. So this here is the new engine made from Range Rover. The engine code is D300 and it's a 3-litre diesel. So previously, these were V60s. Now, they made it into a straight 6. We need to find out why this is a non-runner. So the first thing I'm going to do is jump in and try to start the car. So the first thing you notice as you get into the car is the trim here is open, and also on the other side as well. Now if you look at the back, for some reason you got so many trims open. Why? I don't know. So as you can see, there's no start to the vehicle. The engine is not even cranking, and to me this looks like a ghost immobilizer issue, and that explains all these trims that are all opened up. If you open this door, just show them that trim as well. Look at that. That is typical signs of someone trying to locate the ghost tracker, and it looks like they've been unable to find it. And that's something that we're gonna have to deal with as well. Look what I've just found. And this is just what I was looking for. This is a confirmation of the vehicle having a ghost tracker, Auto Watch Ghost 2. And I've got details of the person who's installed it as well. So this shouldn't be too hard to locate now. All right. So all these trims in the back is all explained now. And just look at that. More stripped down. Look at this. Something's unplugged over here. Bloody hell, man. I hope this isn't some crazy electrical issue car, because we could be chasing this for days, months, or even years. So what I like to do before I start looking into the ghost issues and any electrical problems is to confirm, is the engine mechanically sound? So the first way I can do that is remove the oil filter and check for metal cuttings or filings, because you got to imagine there's no chance this has gone to Copart because it's got a ghost immobilizer problem or someone couldn't locate it. It's just not possible. It doesn't make sense. There's always going to be an issue, whether it's electrical or mechanical. So let's remove this oil filter and check for cuttings. Secondly, we're going to turn the engine manually and check if the engine is seized or not. And that will confirm whether this is an electrical issue or mechanical issue, and we'll take it from there. So we've got the oil filter out. Let's take a closer look. Now look at that. We've got metal absolutely everywhere. See that? That is confirmation of oil starvation in the engine. There you have it, guys. I did tell you, cars in Copart, don't go there for no reason. Not for a ghost tracker at least. This is a non-runner because the engine failed, and the cuttings prove that. This is meant to be a new Range Rover engine, as in the latest one that goes into like the 2025 models as well. What are they doing, man? 4 years in and the engine's failing again. Well, I guess that's a job for us to get the engine out, rebuild it, and put it back on road. Let's get started, man. Let's get this car on the ramp and drop the engine.
Hello?
Hello there. Am I speaking to Andy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've just bought a Range Rover from Copart, and
Okay.
I think it's got a ghost immobilizer in it. I can't get the car to start. Yeah. Sorry. What's the options I have? Because the car's literally not cranking at all, and I believe it's
What
definitely.
car is it?
It's a Range Rover 2021 plate.
21 plate. Is it the one with the old style handles, yeah?
Which handles?
It hasn't got the pop-out handles, has it?
No, it hasn't. No,
No. They don't crank at all?
not at all. It's just you put ignition on, and then the
Yeah.
lights come on and it just goes off again.
Yeah, so have you got a black card with it?
Just found a white card in there. I didn't see no black cards.
No. If you haven't got a black card with it,
Yeah.
the only way you've got it done is either remember Auto Watch and get them to order you a black card for it, or get a local dealer to come and take it off you.
Oh, okay. I see.
It's the only way you'll get it going if you haven't got the black emergency road wide pin card.
So as you can see, as far as ghost immobilizers go, we are stuck and gonna have to leave this one to the professionals. Looking for a ghost immobilizer in this Range Rover will be the same as looking for a needle in a haystack, and that's not something I got time for. So we'll leave that for later.
But what I'd say is, with the cuttings in the oil filter, it means the engine needs a rebuild anyway. I don't need to worry about that now. What I'd do is get this on the ramp, drop the engine, start stripping the engine out, rebuild it, and worry about that ghost part later. That's what makes sense to me, instead of waiting around and wasting time. So we have the Range Rover now up in the air. The first thing to do is turn the crank manually to check if the engine is seized or not. So all we got to do for that is get a socket, put it on the crankshaft, which is located on the front of the engine, and basically turn the engine as it would when the engine's running. So as you can see, the engine is actually not seized. The engine is turning. So that's the crank pulley there, which is attached to the crankshaft. As you can see, with the rotation we're doing, engine is moving, which proves that the engine is not seized. So we know three things. The car's got a ghost immobilizer and we can't start it. Two, the oil filter has metal filings, which shows evidence of oil starvation within the engine. And three, it's not seized. What I'll do next is remove the engine from the car and find out by stripping the engine down what's going on internally. Because no doubt, the cars in auction, there are going to be problems. It's not going to be there for ghost immobilizer. I'll tell you that right now. So anyway, if you come down here, we've already dropped the exhaust down. So we're going to remove the gearbox. There's about 12 bolts which go around the engine. And once that's out, we'll disconnect all the ancillaries, the fuel lines, the wiring looms, and remove the engine from the top. So this here is the gearbox. Over here is the prop shaft. Now this goes right to the back and drives the rear wheels. What we're going to do is remove this shaft off first, then remove all the brackets for the gearbox, any wires attached to it like this, and then remove the bolts which are right there and go all the way around the engine. We can then remove the gearbox off the car. This is what you need when you need to reach bolts that are deep inside and you can't reach with your hands. So, for example, the bolts that go right inside there, you can barely see it, to be honest. We're going to use this to reach for the bolts and remove them one by one. That's the starter motor. Now out. Slowly but surely, things are coming out. So we've got the neutral cable off now. We've got quite a few cables attached to the gearbox. As you can see, these are now all off. We now have all the bolts that go onto the gearbox all around now removed. Shafts are now removed. All we got to do is remove this bracket, align the scissor lift, and drop the gearbox down. We will then remove the coolant hoses, the boost hoses that are attached to the front of the vehicle, a few wiring looms, and that's it. Attach the crane to the engine, and up we go with the engine and start stripping down. All right, change your plan, guys. We were going to remove the gearbox and lift the engine from the top, as we usually do on the Range Rover engines. However, on this new engine, as I said before, it's a D300. It's a straight six engine. It's not a V6. It's slightly different. So the torque converter that's attached to the engine and within the gearbox, the bolts for that are too deep in, so we cannot reach it. And also, the sump will also get in the way. So what we're going to do is use the scissor lift to drop the engine and gearbox down simultaneously from below. Then we can start separating them out and stripping the engine. The good points here is the block has no holes in it. What that means is no piston has flown out from the side of the block and made a hole in it, which usually would mean you have to get a brand new block, probably a brand new crank. The way this car is at the moment, is telling me we're gonna most likely get away with grinding the crankshaft, changing the bearings, gaskets and seals, and should be good to go. Here we have it. The Range Rover engine is now dropped. It's time to strip it fully down. So what we're going to do is remove the gearbox, and as you can see, we've got loads of ancillaries all around it. The first thing we're going to do, however, is remove the bottom end and check the crankshaft and the bearings first, because we've got oil starvation issue definitely. So that's the best thing to do, and let's see how bad the damage is. It's going to take a while to get this done. This engine is quite interesting because Land Rover has been making V6s for about, well, since 2010. This is a straight 6, as I said before, so you got all 6 cylinders going across the engine rather than 3 on each side of the V. They use this engine in all the new Range Rovers, so the new Range Rover Sport, the Vogues, the Defenders, Freelanders, wherever there is, they use this in all of them. So we are about 50% stripped on this Range Rover engine, and I wanted to show you a few things. So remember earlier on, we were turning the crank manually to show you if the engine is seized or not. So this here is a crankshaft pulley, and the crankshaft is located within the cylinder block, which goes all across. I'm going to do that again here now. I want to demonstrate what we were doing because you couldn't really see much earlier on. So all you do is, see that? This is usually how, when the vehicle engine is running, this is how the engine turns. So this shows us that engine is not seized. The crank usually rotates clockwise, as I'm turning it right now. But stripping the engine down, we found something more interesting, and we've actually found the reason why this engine has failed. And in this scenario, it's nothing to do with design quality. So come around this side, I'll show you. So here, we've got the timing chain cover removed, and look closely over here. This is what you call grease. And how does that happen? That usually happens when the engine oil hasn't been changed for about 15 to 20k miles. So this engine has actually failed because the oil wasn't changed on time, which is a bit mad if you ask me. Oil pump didn't fail, the bearings didn't fail. It's just simply someone forgot to service their vehicle. If you come around this side, we've now got to remove the turbocharger, the DPF, EGR, we got the inlet manifold, subframe of course. We'll then remove the sump, take the crankshaft out, pistons, rods, inspect all that, get it all cleaned up properly, ready for assembly. We are going to need to send the crankshaft to the machine shop to get checked and grind it down, because it is going to be damaged based on the metal that we saw on the oil filter. We are now going to lift the engine up in the air and separate the subframe from the engine block, and we can then remove the sump and get access to the crankshaft, pistons and rods, and have a closer look at what happened internally. It's mad this, because the only thing we know about this car is there's metal filings in the oil filter, and that's all we know. And we are working off that because engine start was not possible for us. By the way, guys, on the 1st of January, we got a big project going on onto the channel. Right behind me, the McLaren 720S. Take this as a teaser for what's about to come. You're gonna love that content, so stay tuned. Engine is up in the air. There we go. D300 DT306 engine. It's funny because the first engine was called 306 DT, and they kind of swapped the names around that way around. Range Rover stuff for you. See over here? These are signs of the car being parked up for a while, maybe like a month or so, possibly at a workshop, deciding what to do. And maybe at that point they realized it needs to go auction. It's not for them to repair the vehicle. I mean, used engines of this type are about 8 grand used. So there is a premium to pay just to get an engine. So I guess it comes down to, is it worth it for the owner of the vehicle? I mean, he might be even watching this video right now. So with this Range Rover being so new, it's going to be quite difficult to get hold of parts. And I'm talking about timing tools, pistons, rods, crankshaft. And for those of you that don't know, you know, Range Rover, they don't actually sell you pistons, rods, crankshaft. They sell you the full short block instead. I don't know why they do that, even though their engines are so unreliable. It's something they should definitely consider doing, because how are people supposed to repair their vehicles unless they want them to come back to them? It's going to be a bit of a challenge to get hold of parts. Hopefully we don't even need a crankshaft and the machine shop can grind it down and it's reusable, but then we need bearings, we need piston rings, possibly conrod. About the ghost immobilizer, we've now got a solution. We've got someone coming from Bag Club. He's currently in the car right now, locating the ghost immobilizer. He's gonna disconnect it for now, and once the car's running, he's gonna come back and program it for me so I can actually use it rather than just remove it, because I think it's better for a Range Rover to have a ghost immobilizer than not. For those of you that don't know, a ghost immobilizer works by setting a password in the car. So it could be anything. It could be the window buttons, the steering buttons, even the head unit buttons. And you can assign whatever you want. It could be plus, plus, minus, minus, whatever it is. And that basically unlocks the start of the vehicle. And without that combination, the car will never start. That's why when the car come here, we couldn't even test the engine out by cranking it or to see what happens. When we did try to start the car, we saw what happened. The lights come on the dash and it goes straight back off. There's no engine action, no mechanical things going on. It's a useful feature to have, especially for cars like this, which is highly targeted for thefts in the UK.
So in short, it saves your car from being stolen. Check this example out, where the thieves attempted to try and steal the car and the ghost immobilizer did exactly what it's supposed to, disable the start. With a failed attempt of stealing the car, they left the scene pretty quick.
So we have now removed the sump of the engine. This here is a crankshaft, one of the main components of the engine. I've got quite a lot of things to show you here actually. Remember, we are stripping the engine based on what we saw on the oil filter. We don't actually know the running condition, like as in, is it running smooth, is it knocking? So if you look over here, you can see the impression is very dark, whereas this is the color of the crankshaft as it's supposed to be, this sort of color. Look at that. Look how dark it is over here. So that is the signs you see of oil starvation. I've also got a burning smell in this area, and that is extreme heat. What happens when things are not lubricated properly? They start to cause friction, and as a result, you get a lot of heat. So this here is a conrod. So we've taken one side off. The journal looks kind of scratched. But what I've noticed is we haven't even touched this one. And look, watch this. See that? That is a rod knock. Wow, that is bad. So actually, this car was probably knocking pretty bad. That conrod is going to have to get changed for sure. The rest are actually intact. It's just this one. Look, it's loose. Let's remove the main housing caps and have a proper inspection of the crankshaft, and we'll see what we find. Okay, so that explains it. So this conrod had a lot of movement on it, and that was because the bearing itself is not on the conrod, it's on the crankshaft. It's actually wrapped itself around the crankshaft. That's what you call a spun bearing. So instead of the bearing sitting on the conrod journal, it grabs onto the crankshaft from the heat and actually welds itself onto it. So that's literally where the bearing is right now. Once we get the crank out, I'll show you properly. So the crankshaft is now removed. We're yet to remove the cylinder head, which is this part here. So this here is the engine block. If you look closely, you've got a gasket there. This is called the head gasket. Now the head gasket goes between the block and the head. So the reason why the head needs to be removed is because you can't remove the conrod without removing the piston. And to remove the piston, you got to remove the head because pistons only come up from above. So that's our next step. However, here's the crankshaft. Look at that. What does that look like? For those of you that know, it looks very much like a BMW crankshaft, a straight six crankshaft. That's exactly what this engine is. If you have a closer look at the journals, most of them are actually pretty good, quite clean. Now, if you look at this one, that's where the conrod was. You can see the damage. So that's because the bearing has spun, as I said before, and wrapped itself around the crankshaft. So bearings usually look like half moon shapes, two moon shapes put together, and it goes like this, and it sits on the conrod and on the mains of the engine. So in this scenario, due to excessive heat on one journal, it's grabbed it. Hopefully, we can salvage this crankshaft. That's obviously something the machine shop's gonna have to do. What they're gonna do is basically grind this material down to make it smooth like this, because it needs to be silky smooth. And then once they do that, because it's going to become thinner, we're going to need to get oversized bearings to compensate for that loss. So as you go smaller, you're going to have to get thicker bearings. Otherwise, you're going to have oil pressure issues. So what happens normally is the oil sits in between the crank journal and the bearings. So literally a very, very thin layer. So thin you can't really see it to the eye. That's how lubrication works. And of course, when you have greasy oil like this one does, from not being serviced on time, you get major engine failure like this one. So I think that's the end of this video for now. Let's get this to the machine shop. Let's see what we can do about the parts. I'm going to have to speak to some of my suppliers, people in the trade, and see what I can do, because this engine is pretty new. It's going to be hard to get parts for it. To be honest, it's a bit of a silly reserve price. If the car's a non-runner, how is he going to get 30k for a car that's retailed at 36, but it doesn't even start? It makes no sense. I don't know, unless he knows that it's not an engine issue, it's an electrical issue, and it'll probably cost you $1,000 too. But even still, at auction, this should be a lot less. Like, I was estimating about 25k. I mean, I'll get notification on my phone from the app that, you know, counter offer or declined, going back on sale, then I have to bid again. But at least I know now, no one bidded for this car, and I can win the car for around the 18k figure. Sometimes on re-auctions, they do go up to like another 2, 3, 4k, but we'll have to see.
You'll have to call him?
No, you don't know who the seller is. No, you never get contact with the seller. Because if that was the case, I could just call him now and make a private deal without paying the fees and stuff. You see?